And now, Gimmick Infringement.
Welcome, everybody, to... Wow, I just thought about the election and stopped in the middle of that. Unbelievable. A pre-election Gimmick Infringement podcast. Leave it in, embrace the mess. I am Brad Winchester. With me, as always, is Tyler McDowell Blanken, my tag team partner, because why would we do it in the right order? Tyler, it's late. You got Wi-Fi problems. I got brain problems. Apparently, grad school's turned my glial cells and my Schwann cells into mush. No more prefrontal cortex. No more cerebellum. How are you?
It's been one of those days. I am
the Lord
doing. I'm better. I'm better than I was. You mentioned it. Wi-Fi issues all day. For some reason, Cox Communications, the Wi-Fi gods, they did not have it in store for us to record at a regular time, Brad. Here we are recording on Sunday evening. We just love our fan base. I think we love each other. We love what we get to talk about so much that we had to get in a recording. There were various iterations of what this episode was.
At least three.
If only people knew. If only people knew. We at least three, maybe five. Who knows? But I'm so happy to see you, man. We have really a lot to get into. Of course, we're going to be talking WWE and AEW. You spotlighted this. There is a U.S. presidential election that, I mean, we've been ready for, but it's kind of surreal that it's breaking news. This is why people come to GI, Brad. Presidential election Tuesday of this week. There's personal news for us. There's Live Event Jones on this episode. There's State of 19. There's Golden Batch talk. There's Trap Tales from you. There is a lot to discuss. I am coming off of a pickleball Saturday, followed by a trip to Cracker Barrel, Brad Winchester. I have not been to Cracker Barrel in years. What are your thoughts on Cracker Barrel? Do you love the gift shop as much as most?
I'm processing the last two things. And
I'm telling you, pickleball, you got it.
No. It's not the pickleball itself. Listen, man, I believe.
Jump on the wave. I'm telling you.
I believe in you. Wave is exactly what I was going to bring up here. When you said pickleball followed by Cracker Barrel, my first thought was wave, white American vernacular English.
Listen, man, don't knock it till you try it. The combo on a Saturday? Are we
talking about pickleball at Cracker Barrel or the combo platter at Cracker Barrel?
We're talking about all that, bro.
I went to Cracker Barrel.
There's one in Marana right off.
It's right off the frontage road.
I know you've been there.
Of course, I was there probably like 3, 4, 5 months ago. I don't know when. It was within the last year. We went. It was a late night Jones. We went with Jess and Freya, and Freya was, of course, in love with the gift shop. Gift shop rules. Like, I'd never buy anything in there, but it's awesome to walk around in and look at.
I didn't buy anything either.
Yeah, it's cool. Like, oh wow, this is really cool. Oh, look at that. That's neat. Wow, I love how it's set up. Ready to go. That's usually how that goes. And Freya always wants to walk away with something, but that's not happening. So that's your abridged someday when you have kids. White American vernacular English for the listening and viewing audience. A couple of former students and I are on this doc. They started this document and were kind enough to invite me onto it. And it is just stuff that white folks tend to say. It's not exclusive to white folks, but it is probably pioneered by white folks.
That's a good way to describe it.
Here are some examples, I guess is the word I want to use on here. So when one is in motion, we say, let's skedaddle. Or with an arm extended outward, shall we? Or you ready to rock and roll? These are all great examples. Or when it's confidence, this ain't my first rodeo. Or if it is luck, one that we discussed before jumping onto this in our pre-show meeting, and that is fingers crossed. I have no idea if the crossed fingers or finger guns elicited a response from my computer to do something like an explosion, because my camera settings were off. They're back on. So for everybody viewing today, that's for you. Tyler, we have so much to get into, but I wanted to start with another abridged segment, and that is Trap Tales. I've been back to the gym. It feels bad. Feels good. Feels bad. If internally, intrinsically, it feels great. It feels so wonderful. Physically, I feel like I have been hit with a stick on every major muscle in my legs and just half speed punched by Mike Tyson on the small muscles of my legs. My upper body's a little tight, a little sore, but my legs, especially after several days, are killing me. I did a few new exercises. I did the basic bar deadlift, but I haven't done it in a while. Keeping it super light. I don't want to go past it. Like I think I was at 250 at one point, 95 pounds. I will not go past that. I am afraid my back is just going to explode. So I refuse. But I also did sumo squat, like sumo stance deadlift. I don't know if you've ever done this. It is a new experience for me that has me feeling deep tissue pain in places I didn't know I had deep tissue. It was awesome, alarming to look at in a mirror, and hopefully incredibly beneficial to my long-term health. The weight's still down. I feel good. I got on the scale. I've been out for a while, got on the scale, and I was still under 170. And that felt really good, which motivated me to keep going. But now I had to take a couple days off because I can barely walk. It's that sore that we don't talk about. It's that sore that what's going on? Oh, I sat and it hurt a lot. Not the act of bending, just your muscles touching chair was enough to sit down and go, that sound that you can't control, just, and it's not a great place. Because also in the pre-show meeting, once you hit 40, that might happen anyway. You don't have to go to the gym. It could just be Tuesday and you're going, and you don't know what's going on. Some phantom pain happened in your elbow or your wrist hurts. You're like, but I didn't do anything today. It's just something. Jess didn't say a word when she was squatting down to pet the dog earlier, but I heard her knee go off like a gunshot when she bent down. She didn't say a peep, but I heard it, and I know what's coming. I know what's coming.
That wasn't Winnie.
That was not Winnie going.
Knee.
No, it was just Jess sitting down and hearing. And that was.
I was waiting for you to recreate the sound.
I was gonna snap, but I got a Band-Aid on here, and it's.
I didn't ask you about that Band-Aid. What's going on there?
Oh, it's a wart.
Oh,
yeah.
Dang.
I've been using the compound W gimmick, and this for like a week. It's effective, but it's like carpet bombing my thumb. So yeah, it's hitting the target area, but also everything around it. I took the Band-Aid off today, and it like top layer in a perfect circle just popped off my thumb, where an uncomfortable amount of skin had to go in the trash. And
wow. We're talking extra strength, maximum strength,
maximum. And what I learned from that was I'm done now. I'll go to a doctor after that, because it freaked me out enough where I'm like, I'm afraid to put any more on there, because I'm afraid to put any more on there. I haven't had one of these since I was 18 years old, and it's right in the center of my thumb. Perfect placement to be completely inconvenient. It's always been on the outside. On the outside, I wouldn't care, but it's on my thumb. I can't.
I was over here thinking you had a paper cut at school.
No, got one of those on this finger. Got one of those on this finger.
No Band-Aid required for that.
Cardboard paper cuts too, man.
This isn't your first rodeo.
It's not my first rodeo.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Full Circle Jones.
I mean, we'll get into it. We're ready, Freddie. Okay, we are.
Full Circle's on the list. Ready, Freddie's on. This is gonna stay on GI. I got you.
It has to.
It has to.
But you didn't stay here. You went somewhere. I don't even know what's coming. I just know that there's a live event Jones segment. We haven't done one of these in a long time. I hope the imaging's ready. I'm not positive I updated that, so we'll see. But if you're ready, we can get into it, shall we?
We shall. We blew off the dust, Brad. It is back. I don't remember the last live. It couldn't have been AEW back in February. That's not possible.
I'm almost positive it was.
Well, we are back. Live Event Jones, you are right. I braved the elements. I braved these Phoenix streets, Brad, and I made it to the Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater. I finally saw Kehlani.
Yo, I had no idea.
Yeah, really fun concert. I took some notes that I wouldn't forget.
It's a big deal for you. I'm surprised I didn't know this. Yeah,
it's a really
years
big
in the
deal.
making.
So, some may say years in the making. Absolutely. So it was crazy, man. Concert traffic, live event traffic is just different. No, I don't think this is obviously just an exclusive Arizona thing.
Mm-hmm.
I would say when I was pulling into the venue, it was my first time there. There was so much traffic. Cars were backed up. I almost got into an accident. I was trying to make a left turn. Someone almost hit me when their light was clearly red. So already it was giving Grand Theft Auto vibes of just trying to like get to my destination and not be hit or not cause any issues. But when I finally arrived, I didn't tell you this. I chose the premier parking when I bought my tickets.
Mm-hmm.
Right, guess how much I dropped for VIP premier parking?
Well, I know that WWE is like an AEW was in the 30s.
Yeah.
So if you went, and that's for bum parking in the garage. If you got VIP parking, I'm imagining. I'm just going to take a wild guess and say $95.
Wow, wow, that's a lot. It was either 40 or 50. I don't remember. I've tried to forget. That's a lot of money to park.
That's just pee.
Not covered, no car wash, just to park my vehicle.
Wait. Hold up. So the VIP parking is just like in an open lot?
Yeah. They didn't call it VIP. I just did that for shock value. Premier parking. Easy out parking.
I would have said like $30-$40.
Yeah, it was either 40 or 50. I don't remember. But
I thought you were getting a valet.
Exactly. Right. I should have.
Kehlani's driving the car.
So yeah, that would be great. So eventually make it to VIP easy out parking. And yeah, in terms of getting in the venue, it was my first time there. Real different venue. You could totally take side streets there. You don't need to take the Loop 101 or the I-17 or anything like that for our Arizona folks. So relatively easy to get to minus the traffic. But in terms of the actual concert, super great. You know, Kehlani is one of my favorite artists. It was interesting because she released Crash, her album, earlier this year, her follow-up to Blue Water Road. Not very critically acclaimed. A lot of the fan base, a lot of the Kehlani stans and fans that I know weren't really messing with Crash. But then mere weeks later, she followed it up with While We Wait 2, which is a follow-up to her, the mixtape we loved, While We Wait #1, if you will, that was back in 2019. That's the vinyl behind me. And While We Wait 2 it is getting spins for me and lots of fans. So anyway, really interesting time in Kehlani's career, but she's awesome. Like I said, she's one of my favorite artists, Brad. 2 openers that Kehlani had. I believe the first artist name is Anicia. She's a rapper from Atlanta. And the second opener was a group called Flow. Flow is from the UK. It's 3 young women. They're all 22. And they were amazing. They were giving like new age TLC. Cool. Dare I say?
That's awesome.
Yeah, they were super great live. Anicia, the first opener, Brad, one of my takeaways from this concert, this was a brand new experience for me in that I would estimate 70 to 80% of attendees were women. The concerts I've been to, it's been more of a balance or even more men, like thinking of me going like a Jay-Z concert. But this was predominantly women. So that was already different and unique and fun and cool. And then there was a significant LGBTQ population, large portion of Kehlani's fan base, also dope. Brad, my final point here is I felt ancient during the show, specifically for Anicia, the Atlanta rapper. They announce her, she comes out, and she was really self-deprecating. She said, I know most of y'all don't know me, but like, I want you to turn up with me and blah, blah, blah. Her first song, Brad, I kid you not, the first lyrics in repeat, in succession, were pop that pizza. Different 5-letter P word. We'll say pizza for GI. But it was just loud, in succession. I'm looking around and people certainly younger than me are turning up. And I, with my invisible mic here, and I just decide, like, I look around and think, this has passed me by, man. I'm no longer in the demo. And maybe the song was never meant for me in the first place, which I'm not mad at whatsoever, because we know dudes have been getting paid off of being raunchy in music for years. So shout out to you, Anicia, for doing your thing. But I just looked around at this sea of, I think, 25 and under attendees. And I was just like, man, Brad, this is, I don't know. I'll go to a smooth jazz festival next year or something. Or I don't know. I'm glad I had the experience. People seem to have a really great time. Really great attendance. I think that venue seats, 8,000 people. And it wasn't a sellout, but there were certainly thousands of fans there. Really cool. I'm glad I discovered Flo in this process. And I also introduced you to Anicia, the Atlanta rapper. I don't think I'll see you at her concert, but just want to give you a heads up. She's on the scene. And, you know, I just looked around and thought, okay, the game has passed me by. I'm grateful for new experiences.
One of my favorite things, I'm so glad that you got to go to the concert, man. Like, I know that must have been like an incredibly exciting time for you. Just the build up to it, maybe not the opening acts, but at least one of them. But
at least one of them. It was just unexpected. It was just a lot. It was loud. And
that's another clue.
Very explicit, and new experiences.
Maybe that's the moment I was talking about. There's comes a moment in everybody's life where you realize that you're aging, and if you describe how was that moment, it was loud, is when you're like, okay, it's time to hang it up. It's Jerseys
in the rafters.
Yes. I don't remember. I think it was Jason Mraz. I went to a concert. He came to our university, and I had free tickets, and I would have paid for it because Jason Mraz rules. At the time, I probably wouldn't have admitted it. Now I'm like, I want to go see him live again. He was awesome. And there was a guy named Eric Hutchinson that opened up for him. Similar to your experience. He came out there and he was very self-deprecating, except he was not singing the same kinds of lyrics. He was singing "Okay Is All Right With Me," and had a couple of songs that I had heard before, and I was like, I didn't even know I knew this guy. But like in the middle of his concert, he's got a t-shirt on, and he stops and goes, "I know what you're thinking. Eric Hutchinson, he's pretty good, and you can buy my shirt." And it just says Eric Hutchinson is pretty good in like plain block letters on a tee. And I was like,
there was also merch at mine. A lot of t-shirts are being sold for
and I was like,
$40.
Nothing's changed. This was like 2006, 5, 4, something like that.
I think that's how they make a lot of money on tour, though.
Totally.
It's merch. I get it. I didn't buy any merch this time. Again, like back in the day, Brad, college for sure, I would have been that person to wait in line. I saw the line and thought, I'm not waiting that for a cotton t-shirt.
100%. I did not buy the merch. I went home and committed and said because iTunes, you still had to buy stuff, to buying his album instead. And it was in the rotation for a long time. I think it's cool that you can go see an act that you love and then come away loving another act just because of that platform that they give them. I think that's really dope. That's the goal of us now that we're high and mighty over here, is getting these plebes on here, like employees of the WWE or AEW, something like that. Like those underlings can come on the show whenever they want. Speaking of WWE, Tyler, we had an event this week, and we had events happen this week on the main shows. After NXT, X-Ray Jones, we had releases. There are about 8,000 things that happened in the WWE this week, and we haven't even talked about AEW yet, because there's one big thing that happened in AEW I know we're going to talk about later. I have a feeling anyway, and if we don't, one could say it will hurt. Tyler, hit me with your WWE question.
Yeah, that's going to be my AEW question. You know me well. And well said about the music. Check out Flo, everyone. FLO. Very good.
Don't mind if I do.
WW. It's going to be its own separate GI episode one day. This list is just nuts. WWE. Okay, so you're absolutely right. My initial focus was going to be on the news that emerged on Friday regarding Baron Corbin, Indy Hartwell, and Tegan Knox no longer being with WWE. But I wanted to shift my focus. Of course, we wish those three the best. Really excited to see what could be next for each of their careers. On to my question, though. This is also regarding not Tuesday, but actually on Wednesday, since NXT is moving a day back due to the aforementioned election. Mm-hmm. NXT is running this week's show at the 2300 Arena in Philly. Brad Winchester, this is formerly known to wrestling fans as the ECW Arena.
Yeah, it was.
The show is headlined by a massive 10-woman tag team match. Peep this. Roxanne Perez, Cora Jade, and Fatal Influence versus Kehlani Jordan, Jordan Grace, Giulia, Stephanie Vaquer, and Zaria. Yeah,
Zaria.
like Zaria. Yes, I practiced this many times before we recorded. Thank you. I want to ask you about the last three superstars in that list. Now, Giulia was one of the highest regarded free agents of the year. Stephanie Vaquer, it's hard for me to be objective when discussing her. She delivered one of the most incredible spiral taps I've ever seen at Halloween Havoc.
100%.
And Zaria is one of the most unique wrestlers I've seen in a long time.
Haas.
My question for you, which of the three do you believe will hold NXT gold first?
Singles gold or tag title gold?
Singles gold.
That's hard to say. Zaria would be the easiest one in terms of language barriers.
That's exactly what I was thinking. It's from Australia, right?
Yeah, and having a connection with Rhea, that would be like, it's a no-brainer. And it gets Rhea down there. I don't want to say down there. It gets Rhea over there. You can't really see down there anymore. They're churning out great product every week, and when they have main events that aren't in the stupid performance center, it's awesome. Zaria is who I'm picking right now. Only because of the language thing. I think it'd be easier for the company to be like, yeah, they can communicate with everybody that's in the States and in Canada. And then globally, it's still the lingua franca, it's still English. So I think that I just realized I dropped a lingua franca. I think that Giulia, it would probably be next, and then Stephanie, only because Giulia got introduced first. But flip a coin.
Mm-hmm. I think Giulia also had more name ID than Stephanie.
Yes. Stephanie kind of emerged suddenly
at
Forbidden Door, right?
Game changer. Talk about making the most of your opportunities, grinding for years to get a moment. She's on the biggest stage of her career to that point.
Delivered.
Household name now for wrestling fans.
It's crazy. As soon as people saw it, they were like, "Oh my god!" I immediately was like, "You sign her right now." Mm-hmm. And then
it's incredible.
Tony Khan didn't get there fast enough.
Yeah, incredible quarter 3, quarter 4 of the year for Stephanie. We'll talk about her when we get to our year-end special. But you got Giulia ahead of her in terms of most likely to hold singles gold first. You think Giulia is going to be the one to dethrone Roxanne, presumably?
I would think so, because the way they presented it wasn't like an equal footing thing. It was Giulia got backup, and backup happened to be Stephanie. So I just, in storyline, obviously not in real life, any of these women could be champ at any point. If it were me, I would strap up Giulia 2 months ago. But if it were you, it would be Stephanie right now and for all time. I believe that to be true.
Facts. I don't know when Roxanne is dropping that title though. I've sort of fantasy booked multiple matches within the last year where I thought that could be it for her. I think she's going to be here. I think in 2025 she's still going to be a face of NXT on CW. I mean, because she's amazing.
And that's what I was going to say is I think that she needs to keep it for a long period of time, and it's not because the others can't run with it. They totally can, but it's still not easy for me to say Roxanne Perez. It's weird not to say Roxy. Roxanne Perez has had the title for a while now. All we're going to get is really good contender matches out of this. And I'm okay if she has the title and she's challenging all these other people, because the point is we want to see those matches right now. We don't necessarily have a storyline that we need to see play out yet. Right now, it's just sort of they're feuding with each other, but it's like every heel is feuding with every babyface. So there's no clear path, I feel like, for anybody to win this, because I don't know who is the one to go win this, because we've also had contests that these people have challenged for and lost. So like Giulia probably would have won, but we had interference with Cora Jade. I just, like what's next?
I could easily see this turning into a fatal 4-way at some point.
100%.
I know Cora and Roxanne are back to be best friends, but I could easily see this flipping where
Yeah.
it's a 4-way at
Yep.
whatever, maybe Royal Rumble weekend or definitely by Stand and Deliver in
Mhm.
April. I could easily see this being everybody for themselves, every woman for herself.
Yeah, it's a great question by you, man. Like I'm just looking forward to see what happens.
Yeah,
Not
Zaria's
in
had a great
not in
debut.
PC. But
I know Fallon Henley just won the gold off Kehlani, but Zaria just, man, she has it. Super unique presence. And the language already being, more familiar with English. I think she could easily be fast tracked to hold that North American Women's Championship sooner than later.
she gives me like Rhea Ripley. She's meets
Jordan.
Heidi Howitzer. Is who I'm
Oh
thinking
yeah,
specifically. Like
yeah.
the hair,
Mad
the physique.
Max.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's very, very similar to that, but with like brighter colors.
Right.
And but obviously Australian. So yeah, when I saw her, I was like, holy crap, this is really cool.
Sprinkle in a little bit of Jordan Grace too, in terms of that.
Well, yeah,
power.
In terms of just
Stature?
the arm size.
Yeah. Dang,
when they were
Zaria?
standing next to each other, I was like, their arms are about the same size.
Yeah.
Grace is unmatched with size and definition. She's ridiculous physique wise, like ridiculous. And like her contract ends in 25, I think, early 25.
Yep. She dropped to Masha Slamovich at Bound for Glory and heading into the new year report.
And Masha,
according to Fightful,
like Masha rules.
Oh yeah.
Like we don't talk enough about all the talent around the world. The women's talent in TNA, especially like the women's talent is so good. Like there's so much quality wrestling everywhere. GCW just had an event that looked like it was really great. I know Speedball signed in I think in TNA, and that dude I could easily see him jumping to either company, AEW or WWE at some point.
He's so fun.
And there's, and then there's just floating around in the ether there's Zack Sabre Jr. just conquering New Japan. And it's an embarrassment of riches. I'm glad we have all of these companies, and I'm glad that Triple H seems to be opening up more doors, kind of like the way it was in the 80s, 90s with the independent scene and doing smaller things with them. And he showed up at an event at one point in the last year or two, I think, just coming out and spitting water, and that was kind of it. But like it's wild. Yeah. I can't get over how great of a place that the WWE is in right now, despite all of the other stuff. Like this company overcame Vince McMahon stuff. I cannot think of a better testament to who the people are that are currently in charge could possibly be than they survived Vince McMahon. It's wild. It's crazy to me. I would like to see Stephanie McMahon at some point with all of these awesome women in NXT going like, we need to have an Evolution 2. And should it happen maybe in the next 5 or 6 years ago?
Past due.
Yes.
I really think AEW can, but before I want to hear your question, I really think AEW has a golden opportunity to capitalize on this. I'm not sure what they would call their all women show, but to your point, Brad, whether we're talking TNA, who's been about the knockouts division and promoting and uplifting women's wrestling for a long, long time. Shout out to them. Also, best wishes to Chris Bay and Vikingo as well. Chris Bay had an insane art of finesse in that TLC match at Bound for Glory. Sadly was injured during the next day. I think
bad neck injury, right?
Yeah, and Vikingo as well. So thinking of them, I just wanted to say, to your point, we've spoken about this so many times on air. Evolution 2.
Yep.
If the rumored fear was that it doesn't draw enough money, it's not enough of a financial win. At this point, I think you've built up enough women and added to your roster that not only you can just take from current talent. You don't even need to bring legends back necessarily, although we always love our queens getting their flowers. You can just use the talent you have across NXT and the main roster and have an amazing show. If I'm AEW, I want to capitalize on this quick. I want to plant my flag on not just utilizing Black talent, which we'll get into, but also like plant my flag there, but also plant my flag on, let's run an all women show.
Yep.
We got the talent in AEW. If we combine AEW and ROH, we could sell out a venue. I agree with you. We want Evolution 2 Stephanie can help us make this happen. But I think Tony Khan and company, Madison Rain, whomever, I think they should jump at that opportunity.
I agree. And I think they could get Stardom involved, and I think they could get Maple Leaf involved since
Maple Leaf Pro, yes.
Because WWE is doing stuff with TNA. I don't know if they have an official contract with each other, but I know there's like talks about them being kind of a feeder. And I know Triple H has been more interested, or I guess not Triple H, but WWE in general released that thing recently. I think it was this week, might have been last, where they're now open to other talent and looking at places that are not just NIL deals at colleges and stuff. So they're opening up to more experienced people as well. We'll see what happens, man. Like it's crazy to think about, but I'm with you, man. Like they could do easily pull off an Evolution 2. ROH talent, get Athena in the AEW picture, please. I'm super happy though that Penelope Ford is back. Happy that Anna Jay is getting more shine and more big moment time. Her footwork and stuff looks so much better than before she went to New Japan.
100%.
And
Queen Aminata is on TV all the time now.
Queen
Layla
Aminata
Gray
has been a star. Layla Gray is up.
Love Layla Gray.
Red Velvet is doing great things in ROH and could
yeah.
easily go right back to doing stuff on AEW, and people would be stoked for it. So they have a ton of talent, and it would be very easy to get people in there because we also have Giulia Hart and Sky Blue and I'm blanking here. There's somebody else that I'm forgetting right now that are out injured, that when they come back, it's going to be really ridiculously fun. And if they could pull off an Evolution, I'd pay for it. Certainly, but it would be a great opportunity, I think, for Max to do like a freemium live event.
Right. You could have a lot of crossover potential with all the properties on Max, and it's a layup. It's a layup for all of these companies. That has to happen in 25. That's on my wish list.
Has to. My question's pretty simple and straightforward, Tyler. Sami intervened in the Bloodline story as we predicted, as everybody predicted. We knew this was coming, but we didn't quite know. I think it was, didn't he hit him with an exploder? I can't remember what Sami hit Solo with, but Tyler, where does this lead us?
It leads us to Survivor Series. We've been ready for this moment. So we've thought about, I'm thinking after Survivor Series, where does this lead Sami?
Yeah.
What is Sami's big match? Because we know for The Rock and Roman, that's going to probably be a WrestleMania thing. Sprinkle Cody in somewhere here, even though he's off like being the champion of the universe. For Sami, I would think the payoff is this upcoming Survivor Series match, because in my opinion, OG Bloodline has to win this.
Yes.
I want to know December through April, what's the plan for the other 6 men in this match, not named Roman Reigns and possibly Dwayne Johnson. So for Sami, Survivor Series, I want to know what comes after that. Is it a tag team title run with Main Event Jay? Does WWE get trios belts, and then we get the Usos and
you were
Sami?
thinking the same thing, yeah.
What are we talking? Because Sami's had a massive run since joining the Bloodline. He's just ascended in WWE. He was already a savvy vet in the company, but obviously this, like every member, every talent in this storyline, he's been launched. He's been propelled to being here. Survivor Series is going to be great. Haluva City. What comes after that for him?
I think to answer your point, because I agree with you on pretty much everything there.
Maybe we don't need it. Maybe it's going to be so euphoric when he Haluva kicks Bloodline 2.0. We'll be happy.
Well, 2.0 might be pissed that Sami got involved because he's not a member of the Bloodline. So I can see Sami doing something with Jacob Fatu. That would make a ton of sense to me. Do a program with him.
Yes, please.
Because I feel like Roman and Solo are going to have the fight for leadership at some point. Maybe that's the Rumble match for Roman.
I can see that. Sure.
And that leads us to like, all right, now that he's got the Ulafala back, that leads us to whatever WrestleMania is going to be with Cody. And at that point, Rock shows up and says, I don't like this. I don't like this one bit. I told you when I left, whatever thing is that's going to turn Cody heel. And then we got babyface Roman versus Cody heel Cody at WrestleMania because of what happens with The Rock along the way. That makes a ton of sense. It's what they did with Rock and Austin. They flip-flopped them. So it's yeah, man, I don't know. Except I guess they didn't really flip-flop them. It was like heel babyface Austin and heel Rock babyface Austin, two baby faces, heel Rock babyface Austin. So I guess it's not quite a perfect comp there, but I could totally see them bringing that up because they never touched that again. And that is totally unlike this current regime. Rock sure as hell didn't forget it now that he's on the board. There's no way they don't come back to that because he showed up at the end of SummerSlam and was like, I'm mad about this. But we don't know what about. We don't know if it's Roman. We don't know if it's Cody. We know he hates Cody and he said it. He's like, I love this man. I love this man. I hate your son's guts. And he walked away pointing at Dusty. I think there's a lot of meat on the bone left in this storyline. They've done a masterful job. And now I'm looking back at it going, Paul Heyman was right. It was only like the third inning or whatever.
Remember we were in our feelings about that?
Yeah. Yeah. For the storyline, sure. But of the Cody Roman story, I was like, come on now.
Yeah, we're going to be feasting off this for years to come. Hopefully, everyone stays healthy and has access to good Wi-Fi.
But the only question I have for you though is, are we getting War Games? Are we getting it? Do you think we're getting Regal?
Of course I do. Of course I do.
He didn't do it last year, did he? I can't remember.
I think he did. No, I think he certainly was out of AEW by then.
Right, but he was on the non-compete. He couldn't be on screen for a while.
Yeah, maybe it was Triple H or Shawn Michaels who did their best.
Yeah, it's probably
Regal
what it
impression.
Was. That's probably what it was.
That's a long time ago. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
We'll go with that.
I hope Regal just dust him off and have him come out there and do it. Like that everybody will go nuts.
Of course they will.
Because you know it's going to be like Pierce or somebody who's going to call out. No, he's
I love Nick Aldis.
Like,
I love Nick Aldis, but we need William Regal.
Nick Aldis is so good in his role.
He
like
really
that
is.
dude.
He's the national treasure for a reason.
That dude needs to go like, all right, I've had enough of this and just take off the suit. Because
we're going to get it at some point. Yeah, we're going to get it at some point.
But one of them going like, I don't feel good about doing this, so I've asked somebody to do it for me, and then calling out Regal, and the crowd's going to lose their mind. But he needs to come out with he's a man.
Wow. Okay.
In the flannel. Give it to me.
We need all this.
I just want to laugh really, really, really hard because I think it'd be really incredible. Speaking of incredible, we're doing incredible things here in 19 Media Group, Tyler. So let's get into it. It's time for the state of 19 Media Group. Play the music.
Late breaking news from the world of 19 Media.
Jessica and Carmen released the second edition of A Prude Awakening. They welcomed Jabari Davis of 19 Media Group once again rejoining, and of course iHeartMedia, for a special woke or weaponized episode. You can follow Jessica at Jestamou,Jestamou, and Carmen at Carmen J. McDonald.
Desmond of Hip to the Games dropped a new episode. He reveals his favorite new hip-hop artist and predicts the season's NBA Finals matchup. You can follow the show at Hip to the Games, and that's 2, the number 2.
Warren hosts dope interviews, welcoming guests from Hollywood, the hardwood, and more. In case you missed it, in his latest episode, he sits with Jason Gallagher to discuss the art of sports storytelling. Tune in and follow the show at dope_interviews.
Callan Warren dropped a new installment of the Baseline NBA podcast. They discuss the vulnerability of this year's Denver Nuggets and Miami's Dwayne Wade statue. You can follow them at NBA Baseline.
It is amazing that D Wade was there for the entirety of it, giving the artist advice on how it should look. And I don't know what made him think he was from the Matrix or a troll meme, but it certainly is haunting. Really makes you
It was giving Lawrence Fishburne. You're right.
It absolutely was giving, but Lawrence
we
Fishburne
we
specifically
love-
screaming in the chair in the Matrix when he's trying to escape. That's what I get.
We love Lawrence Fishburne, but
Of course.
two different guys.
No, it makes you really want to put your thinking cap on, Tyler. Gerald of Heavy in the Paint welcomed New York City basketball legend David Kane to discuss the NBA's biggest storylines. You can follow Gerald at GeraldBLSS.
Late Night Lake Show is in full effect. Join Ricky and Kwame as they welcome Raj Chipalu of Silver Screen and Roll to discuss the new season of Lakers basketball. You can follow them at Late Night Lakers.
Well. Mo and Mike are on fire at Hidden Gems Football, releasing new weekly episodes ahead of NFL action. Mike also released a new episode of the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steff, discussing the continued saga of the New York Jets. Follow them at Mike Steffens _ and at A Power Mojo. I had to sneak in some wave.
I loved it. You
Had to.
This is Barnes & Noble, future bestseller. Brad, we got to talk AEW. We teased it earlier. Let's get into it now. Bobby Lashley made his on-screen debut at the end of Fright Night Dynamite, dismantling Swerve Strickland and Prince Nana. The Hurt Syndicate is fully formed for now. The theme music and font color are very similar to what we heard and saw in WWE with this group. My question, is this a case of simply give these guys more time and meaningful storylines, kind of pluck them in from where they were in WWE to AEW, much like we saw Cody do, but vice versa? Or are there strategic changes you would make for the artist formerly known as the Hurt Business, now the Hurt Syndicate in AEW?
That's a great question, man. I number one, the change I would make is very simple. Don't change them. Have them on screen, have them be a syndicate, have them be the Hurt Business. The one thing that I don't feel like we ever got from it was, why are they a business and why are they a syndicate? What is their business? Are they mercs? Are they here to make money as draws? What exactly is the purpose of this group other than being like big meaty black men slapping meat? I don't really know what the clear goal is of this business. I want to find out. To me, this feels very much like what I was hoping would be avoided when I said it before, and I think it was in regards to WWE, that this would build logically to Blood and Guts with Moxley's faction and the Hurt Syndicate. But like I said in that other one, I was like, I don't want them to end up doing Race Wars, the TV show. I specifically want to avoid that because I do not enjoy the thought of what that's going to be like. Because I swear to you, if they're like, yeah, we're going to do Blood and Guts live from Birmingham, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem.
Location matters.
Location matters very much. If you do it in Chicago, it's probably going to be okay. Then that's probably his go-to. I don't think anybody will care. And I think it would be awesome. If you do it in, there's some places they've been where I'm like, I don't know how it goes at the Forum. I don't know how it goes at the, over in like North Carolina. I don't know how that goes. I don't, but I also don't know what the Hurt Syndicate's going to look like. I can assume we know what it's going to look like, but did they add women? That would be the biggest change. I would love to see Queen Amanada in there, or the one that makes, to me, and I don't know what your thoughts are on this, the one that makes the most sense, the one that is an absolute no-brainer, is Athena. If you're going to have a Hurt Business and it's going to be comprised of I guess black men and women, then it's got to be Athena. Queen Amanada makes a lot of sense too, though. But I would love, definitely. Actually, you know what? I take that back. I'd love to see Athena in there, but Athena's fine on her own. I think giving that rub to Queen Amanada, kind of the way that Marina Shafir is getting it from the Moxley group, as just like this badass enforcer.
Great analogy.
Would really boost this person who hasn't yet accomplished a ton.
Right.
That has the fans. And if you could take that thing where it's like, oh yeah, you're already kind of a fan favorite, and tweak it so the fans are like still invested in you, but kind of want to hate you at the same time, but kind of can't help it but love you. And now you're rolling with these champions, these professionals that have been in it forever.
Yeah.
I think that could be a huge boon for that character. So you know what? Give me that. That's the change I want to see.
I love that. And gold is already one of her main colorways.
Yes.
Gold
It's
is the
perfect.
colorway.
What a transition into that.
It's fantastic. And on Friday, I watched the replay of this. She took on Layla Gray on Rampage. Queen Aminata, debuted some new pronouns pal. Debuted some new submission holds. So I'm not sure if there's any coincidence with that. Maybe having her join a Hurt Syndicate faction. But I think her style, her presence, her charisma, it would be a fantastic mix. I agree with you, Brad. Adding a woman or women to the Hurt Syndicate would be a great update, as well as going for trios gold. We know in WWE currently, it's funny, we just talked about this. There is not a formal trios division. There are no belts. There are no championships to vie for. In AEW, there are. So whether it's MVP putting on the boots, or what I think is more likely, they bring in another guy into the group. I'm not sure if that's going to be. I mean, they've been passing out. MVP's been passing out his business cards, Brad, like it's a job fair. There's Ricochet, there's Max Caster or Anthony Bowens. There's a lot of potential guys that could join, and that could easily be, a trio to contend with.
I would love Bowens in that group. I would love
Bowens would be great.
Yeah,
he would be great.
I think what would be
with the suit and with the no nonsense.
I think the best. That would be the best case scenario, because everybody assumes it's going to be Max.
Exactly.
Have the biggest baby face in the team turn and be like, I can't believe it was you. That could do wonders for both of them.
Fall on forehead. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I can't.
I would love it.
God, that would be
we want good things for Anthony Bowens always.
100%. Also, he just, like, the dude is jacked. Absolute Adonis. He actually fits in really well with the guys that are currently there. Shaved head and yoked. That works. That seems to be what's happening there.
Check.
When you said that Queen Aminata was trying out, I think it was Queen Aminata was trying out the submission, or
she was multiple on Layla Gray.
Yeah. So I'm getting them all mixed up. Like, I feel like last week's Dynamite was this week. It's all merged together. Time doesn't matter to me right now.
When she fought Camille.
Yes. Oh God. Yes. Mercedes afterward, grumpy. Now,
very much so.
When you said the holds, who better to teach her the holds than the person we know is a martial arts master in MVP, who does competitions and teaches people? Like, I'm pretty sure it wasn't an MVP that was working with John Moxley. I can't remember, but they
sounds right.
He popped up in Bloodsport
as well.
Yep. Like, legit fighter, legit badass.
Yeah. And Shelton Benjamin, highly accomplished, highly decorated amateur wrestler.
That's Queen
Aminata. Let's sign her up. Let's slot her in, and then definitely Anthony Bowens.
That was a fun match with Swerve.
Yeah.
And we got Bobby afterward. Nobody's talking about the match because everybody's talking about the debut, of course.
Pretty cool.
When he threw that lariat, I thought the jacket was busting. It did not, but I thought for sure that thing was done. When he put his arms out, I was like, oh, it's over. That jacket is ripping for sure.
Yeah, the jacket, the leather.
Kudos to the tailor.
Yeah. The jacket was maybe the most unexpected part of the debut for me.
But well, let's hope that his idea about Nazis doesn't happen in AEW. Tyler, my question for you. Well, a couple thoughts. The tunnel shot in Collision was a little weird. There's like on the hard cam side, it's pointed at a crowd and then a big black empty space where the tunnel was. I thought that was a really weird setup. And the crowd for Collision kind of sucked. It was pretty quiet. And I don't know if it's a product of miking or what, but it was not good. However, we did get the official title and the official advertising for the Hurt Syndicate. Gold, black, all that. I'm dusting off that Hurt business shirt. I know I'm doing it. But now I feel like I got to commit to a Hurt Syndicate shirt, especially if it's in that shiny font. But shop AEW and Pro Wrestling Tees. I need you to fix your products. They suck. They wear out after like 2 washes. Fix your crap. Anyway, Tyler, what do you think the current storylines are going to lead to at Full Gear? And here's my specifics. What opens the show and what ends the show?
Wow. What ends the show? OC versus Mox. What opens the show?
It's the harder one.
Yeah. tempted to go Swerve versus Lashley, but I don't think that's going to be it. On the women's side of things, Mercedes versus Chris is going to be amazing. I'm not sure what the match for Mariah is going to be. Maybe Mariah versus Mina, possibly.
That seems to be what they're going for, which means that's going to be it's going to be a mid-card match.
Okay, my two contenders for this opening slot. MJF versus Adam Cole, which, truth be told, kind of been there, done that for me. Or I'm going to go with this. This is what I want it to be. Daniel Garcia versus Jack Perry, the scapegoat for the TNT Championship. Daniel Garcia leaves Jersey finally as a champion.
That's the one. 100%. I totally agree with you. I kind of hope they do the trials of Jericho, or the trials of MJF, whatever they were calling it. Jericho wanted to fight Max, and he went through all the gimmicks, and he's like, I'm going to be the pain maker. And everybody booed.
That was the negate, right?
Yeah. Yep. Sure was. The infamous pizza cutter transition.
Never forget.
But then he lost. He lost before getting to Max. He lost the 6th or 7th trial, and it was just sort of done then. I can see that happening with Adam Cole before getting there, and MJF having to fight Roddy or somebody else. I could totally see something like that. I don't know what they do there, but I'm with you. I don't need to see it. That I needed to see it 9-10 months ago, whatever it was when the story was hot. It's been in the freezer since then. So I just don't care. Since Cole was injured, it's like, I don't care about this. The Undisputed Kingdom still kind of exists, but they're baby faces, and it was weird. The music sucked. Like, the presentation was meh. Everything died on an ankle, and injuries happen. But if your storyline is contingent upon an ankle, then you don't have a good storyline, because we should be invested in the other characters that you set up. Like, why didn't, I don't know, I can't even think of it, Matt Taven or somebody. Why wasn't that part of this? Why wasn't he part of the beef with MJF? You could have gone another route and built other stars. It's not that those guys aren't established pro wrestlers. They've never been big. They've never been like superstars. You know what I mean? Like, they're obviously stars in their own right, and they're incredible at what they do. I actually really love watching their matches, but they're awesome. So why haven't they had the spotlight more? It's weird to me that they haven't. Like, what are we doing? So throw them in there and have them be more involved instead of doing feuds with other random tag teams or trios. Like, they just sort of seem to be like, well, they're reliable. Throw them in. So I think I worry that Chris gets, well, if it's Mercedes and Chris, it's going to be probably like second to last co-main event or something. I could see that happening. But if it's Mariah and it's Mina, I'm afraid that won't even make the show. Like 0 hour. Tony Khan is not good at putting more than 2 matches on a pay-per-view. That women's matches,
unfortunately. And
there's 3 currently. Where does that leave Willow? Where does that leave all the other talent I can't even think of right now? Yeah. When's Tony coming back? Is Tony coming back at Full Gear?
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I've shared with you on air and off air, Tony winning at Grand Slam Australia has to be the move.
Yes.
She gets revenge on Mariah, returns to her homeland and wins. I think everything is in service of come February, Tony's getting that championship back.
Yeah, and does she run with it for a long time, or do we have a transition that's a little bit faster this time?
Probably a faster transition. There's a lot of talent who are ready.
And I wonder who it'll be. I don't know what the contract status is with Riho. I don't know what the contract status is with Hikaru Shida. I don't know. There's this incredible wealth of talent that is just sort of invisible right now. And I don't really understand what's happening. All I know is that I believe that we're going to have some really cool storylines leading up to Full Gear, because I have to believe that, and that Tony Khan will fix it, and that we're going to get a great show, because we always get a great show. AEW is like the gold standard, one could say. Man, can't even say that anymore. For putting on a pay-per-view event, making you go, this is worth their money. It's something I haven't found worth my money this season. has been the Golden Bachelorette. I made it through episode 1. I laughed through episode 2. And then I was done. But I am invested into seeing how right I was. So I can't wait to hear updates. Tyler, let's play the music. It's time for another rose from Tyler.
And now, for a rose from GI's most eligible bachelor.
Let it be known that was one of my favorite transitions into Batch Talk. Relatively quick segment for you this time. This episode was relatively standard fare. However, the show ended with, and let's rewind for our fans. Joan, inaugural Golden Bachelorette. She has 3 men left heading into this most recent episode. Pascal, Guy, and Chock. She went on dates with all of them. Instead of the traditional fantasy suites, the implication, Brad, was that rather than they would use fantasy suite time to actually connect and get to know each other better by just spending time together, bonding, and I don't know, playing Scrabble or other things. So this was a little bit different.
Yeah.
Pickleball even. Thank you. A little more challenging at night, but still stands. However, this episode ended with a major storyline twist, not unlike professional wrestling. After spending the day together, Pascal was last in this episode strategically, he shared with Joan that he is not ready for an engagement with her. He's just not there yet. Maybe this was predictable. We'll see the official fallout this week, so it ended on a bit of a tease. But ostensibly, it is now down to 2 men, Guy and Chock. They've been front runners for weeks, as you know. So my rose this week goes to Peyton Manning. He's on my TV. He's on my TV every Monday as a simulcast option for Monday Night Football. I never watch him in Eli, but he's on TV and he's getting his paper. And his doppelganger is definitely winning this thing. I think Chock is going all the way. There are 2 episodes left. We have the Men Tell All this week. And then next week, November 13th, we have part 2 of the finale. And of course, the After the Rose special. Chock is winning. And that's my update this week.
I just named that chapter. Peyton Manning chalks the ball. Okay, Tyler, what did we miss?
Language. Love it.
Sorry.
What did we miss? I'm looking at my list here. We covered a lot of this.
100 things.
Mariah Bayonetta, J, Beta Events Collision, WWE ID program, new coaches getting hired in the NBA, including Stephanie White, leaving Connecticut to go to Indiana, where she has ties. U of A football is in a very tenuous position right now, even more tenuous than the last tenuous update that I provided here. And finally, gimmickinfringementpod.com, new words, new article entitled Swing State, discussing the evolution of the Arizona electorate and what all this means ahead of Tuesday. So I encourage you to check it out. Show love to Brad. He's done an amazing job on the website, constantly revamping, constantly look for ways for us to do something new, something fresh, something artistic. And I'm grateful for you for that. Of course, I'm grateful for all of you. Thank you for the support last week. And of course, thank you for tuning in this week. Brad, what did we miss?
I think you covered everything that I can remember. The Pistons are still 1-5 as I last saw, but I'm sure if they play, I can't remember if they play today or tomorrow. I'm sure they're now 1-6. No, I know they were playing. They were up by 1 the last time I looked. It was like 79-78. So I'm sure that's done. Tyler, go out and vote. Tuesday's a big day. Go make your voice heard. It's kind of it, man. Like, vote with your heart. Vote with what you know is right and true. And know that both you and I have already voted. It is done. I have no idea if that's on the screen or not. I just want people to go out and get the vote done so that we don't have this confusion at the end as to like, oh, well, how many votes counted and who did just do your damn job. You're an American citizen. Go do it.
Period.
That's it.
You can follow us at GIPod19 for exclusive show updates and more. Thank you for being here. Be safe. Be well. Log off this week when you need to. and we'll see you next week. Gimmick Infringement is a part of 19 Media Group. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, or wherever you find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube via the 19 Media Group channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.